And we are live. Woo! Good morning, everyone. A happy Sunday morning to everyone. I've had my coffee. Ready to talk some video games. Want to get everyone primed and ready for the Iron Lords podcast that goes live at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Please check out the Iron Lords podcast. Great group of gentlemen. Big friends of the podcast. And, definitely want to head over there at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They have a great guest on today for today's show. And anyhow, so I wanted to do another Brap rant. I didn't think I was going to do another one, but I said the hell with it. Why not, right? Well, why not do another Brap rant? It's Sunday. There's no football today. Well, the Pro Bowl's today at 3 o'clock this afternoon, but I don't know if I'll be watching that or not. But anyhow, so I figured, I wanted to talk because I want to talk about PlayStation Now because I saw an interesting tweet from the folks at Open Critic about Game Pass and the tremendous value that it has. And I've been, if you follow me on Twitter, Brap_podcast, you see that I have been talking about two of the more recent releases on Game Pass. We actually, believe it or not, we have Children of Morta and A Plague's Tale, which, from what I've heard from many people who played the game, it is an outstanding game and one that most people should probably check out, I think, especially if you have Game Pass. It's like a no-brainer. It's like you pay for the service, great content drops in, why not? So I actually just picked up both games on Game Pass for PC for me, because as you guys know, I primarily game on PC now. But actually did download Children of Morta for my oldest son. I gave them my Xbox One X, so they have that. So I'm going to see if he's interested in playing that game. But so I wanted to talk about, Game Pass and the potential value the value that it may present for gamers. So, some people aren't interested in Game Pass. I've had conversations with those individuals, but I think the consensus is amongst most people that are tied into the Xbox ecosystem, such as myself, that the service really does, present a great value. There's some really good games that have dropped in and out of Game Pass. Obviously, Microsoft's first party. You get Microsoft first party day and date, which is an added bonus for the platform. But and I'm going to talk about PlayStation Now, and I think what Sony needs to do. I've been, if you tuned into Brap last Wednesday, we were discussing this very topic of PlayStation Now and how Sony's really done a kind of a piss poor job marketing this thing. I think. You don't hear. They have some new games that dropped into PlayStation Now this month. You have Horizon Zero Dawn. You have Uncharted Lost Legacy, and then I think you have a game called Overcooked that have dropped in PlayStation Now. You can play those now, downloadable. So long as you subscribe to the service. Sony has dropped the price of PlayStation Now, which is, I think, a smart move. But I'm going to get into that here a little bit later on. But I do want to get a hot topic right now. Rage of the media bias strikes again. As you guys know, I've been very outspoken about media bias for 3, 4, 5 years. Shit, I guess in the time that I've been doing this podcast, I've been kind of outspoken about it. But I do want to say that, it's interesting with the whole media bias thing. Wow. I don't even know where to start. I'm going to play this, and I hope I'm not the master of OBS, by the way. I am still, even though I've been using OBS for some time. iDizzy says they took God of War away. Waves angry fist. iDizzy, I am with you. I said that a couple months ago that I didn't think that they should do that. Like, why? Like, God of War came out how many years ago now? Why would you put it in there and then take it away? Like, that's that does not make any sense to me. Like, why would you do that? And maybe the business argument is, hey, maybe we can max squeeze some more juice out of sales, and get people, into the, playing it. Maybe they didn't, beat it. Maybe they want to go back and beat it, and now they have to play it. Look, I think at this point, Sony, you have just do a solid for the fans. Seriously, I mean, like, and I get it. These companies, they want to make money. Fuck it, I understand that. They're in the business to make money. They want that coin, that bread. They want some of that sweet chiba. And so they're going to do their thing. I get that. D-True says, buy it, period. I mean, that is the other option, iDizzy. But iDizzy, I do understand your point, sir. And I have actually said that myself, that I thought it was kind of odd and kind of thought that Sony should, in fact, just fucking leave these games in PlayStation Now, for crying out loud. Just do this. I think it adds value to PlayStation Now. Just do it. So, but I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that here in a sec here. But I want to talk about rage of the media bias strikes again. IGN being the target. IGN being the target of, what I would say media bias conspiracies. Look, I understand we all have our preferred platforms. Media folks do too. But we got to, like, this shit's got to stop. If somebody is giving you an opinion and you don't agree with their opinion, you can't go out there and scream, media bias! Media bias! Oh my God, it's media bias! They hate the Xbox! I told you so! Ah! You can't do that. First of all, this is why gamers can't ever have anything nice. Because we got people in the community acting just very irrational. Very irrational. I'll leave it at that. So I'm gonna play something, and I hope I do this right, guys. I'm using OBS here, so I'm gonna try to get to this play this clip here. So give me a sec here, guys. All right, let's hope. I hope this works. All right, guys. So I'm going to play this clip, and I hope you guys can see it in the screen. Hold on just a second. Let me just check something. Like I said, I am not... look, I don't have fucking time to be on OBS 12 hours a day trying to figure this shit out. I got 4 kids, damn it. A mortgage, a wife, a full-time job. I got all this shit, all these responsibilities to balance. Not that I'm complaining, but I'm just telling you, All right, here we go. It's just... okay, all right. So I got the window up here. All right, perfect. So here we go. I'm going to play this clip. If you guys can't hear the live chat, just text me. Okay, Lay says that was a PlayStation podcast on IGN. Dude, that's fucking irrelevant here, by the way, because if you go back, Lay, and this person who tweeted this took a 10-second clip of this podcast, of this very episode. And if you go back and you listen to the episode, Lay, in its entirety, they actually criticize PlayStation Now and praise Game Pass 3 to 4 times. So there's that, sir. All right, I'm going to play this real quick.
Here, and we're all kind of like, full of meat and day drunk, and they were like, hey, by the way, brand new Cloverfield movie tonight, and we're like, oh, that's great, I don't even have to leave the house. And we turned it on, and it was totally a mediocre film, but people assessed their viewing of it as fun because they saw a movie for free. And I saw the same exact thing happen last year with Crackdown 3, which was not a great game, a kind of broken game, but a lot of people were like, hey, it was included in my thing, and so totally, for me, it was worth it. I liked it, stuff like that.
Well, it's the Netflix occasion of things. Like, don't get me wrong, I think there are some amazing shows on Netflix, but I think we also give a lot of shows a pass on Netflix because it's like, well, it was included in the thousands of other shows.
We all watched Bird Box one year, and we're all kind of like, full of meat and day drunk.
All right, guys. So that was the clip that got a lot of people up in a tizzy. And by the way, guys, please be respectful of other people's Twitter's account. I just noticed that the individual who tweeted that out, there's his tag, but please leave him alone. I don't want to encourage anybody to go after anyone. I just put that out there. We don't need any negativity like that in the gaming community, regardless of whether or not you disagree with someone's opinion. So let's just keep it civil. But give me a sec here, guys. So I don't know. Sorry, guys. My kid just walked in the room. I don't know, like... I don't know what he said was wrong. Like, what... I'm trying to figure out, what did he say was wrong? He is just talking about... OBJ, I disagree with you, sir. People... I know PlayStation fans that care about services. And I'm telling you, OBJ, just like streaming is the future, services are going to play a big part, I think, in how we consume games. I mean, we're seeing it right now. But I'll get to that point here in a sec. But that clip that I played, like, what the fuck did that guy say that was wrong? Nothing. One, he's giving his opinion. Look, and it's fine if you disagree with his opinion. Fine. Okay, but look, I did see a lot of people out there, a lot of gamers saying, I reviewed Crackdown 3. I had a review copy. Did not like it. Did not like it at all. Thought it was a very bad game. If you like Crackdown 3, that's great. Like, I'm not going to disparage anyone for liking a game. The game was not good for me. It was not a good game. I was very disappointed. In the and just how repetitive the gameplay loop was. I thought the art style was great. I mean, to me, that's the strong point. I thought that having what's his face, I forget the Hollywood actor. Shit, it's his name's not coming to mind right now. But anyhow, the point is that I do think that. That what they said was fine, and I saw this. Like, I see a lot of people who have Game Pass were saying, "Oh, well, you know what? It wasn't bad. It was free. It was free." And as the IGN guy said, we do this with Netflix. I've done this with Netflix. I'll watch this show. It might be shit, but there's 1,000 other shows on Netflix, so it's not that bad. Like, it's not it's not as bad as if I was like saying paying $60 for this game. I get all these other games included, all the hundreds of other games included in Game Pass. So, I'll give, Crackdown 3 a pass. I did see that. I did see people say things like that. So he isn't Terry Crews. Thank you. I thought having Terry Crews on the game was big, although I thought it was a missed opportunity by the developer to really utilize his enthusiasm as a character and really I thought, build the game more around him. But anyhow, I digress. But we got to stop doing this, guys. Like, seriously, like if and if you don't agree with that individual's opinion, that is fine. You have every right to say, you know what, I don't agree with his opinion. But to come out here and start saying, fucking media bias, oh my God, it's media, IGN, oh fuck, IGN, they're at it again, those motherfuckers, I'm gonna kill them, I'm gonna kill them all. Yeah, we have to stop with that, because at the end of the day, if you don't agree with him, that is fine. But let's not. You know what the funny part is that the person that tweeted that out and said, "Hey, this is media bias again. IGN's at it again." Took a 10-second clip. And in that same episode that they're claiming IGN media bias, the same panel members who are having that discussion that I played for you all, they are saying they criticized PlayStation Now. And they praised Game Pass 3 to 4 times. They criticized PlayStation Now and they praised Game Pass in that same episode where people are going batshit mad angry over media bias. So let's think about this. If it was media bias, why would these guys praise Game Pass and scrutinize PlayStation Now? Let's just think about this rationally for once. I don't know what else to say other than that I'm not surprised, but the fuckery needs to stop. It just for one is it just isn't a good look for the gaming community. I've had developers tell me, I've had media types tell me that they don't do podcasts, smaller podcasts, because of shit like this. And it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I mean, we had one specific, and I could think of one, and I don't want to put his name out here, but we had one journalist on from a big media gaming site, who stopped doing podcasts because of this nonsense. He's now, I think, changed his tune, and it's probably going to be coming back on BRAP shortly here in the new year. But it's just like, this shit's got to stop. It's ridiculous. And look, you don't have to agree with everyone's opinions. You don't have to do that. You don't have to agree with everyone's opinion. And that's fine. But to sit there and say, oh, these guys are lying or they're biased or not telling the truth, they're giving a fucking opinion, for crying out loud. My man Jay Fonzarelli, big shout out to Jay Fonz, who's on RDX podcast. Check those gentlemen out. Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fonz says, when a journalist says or writes his thoughts on a particular product, I want them to be honest. It's sad that some equate an honest opinion with media bias. Is there media bias out there? Sure. Most of the examples I see gamers throw around are just opinions they cannot handle. That, sir, is correct. OBJ Don says media bias player. OBJ, are the Redskins gonna go to the playoffs next year, man? Is Ron Rivera gonna take the Redskins to the promised land? Probably not. Big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Ryan Landis, iDizzy, OBJ to Don, Talus, Emra17, the Trigger Man, Mixa PC Pro, Calorex, Craig the Tech Guy, Thumbs, Ice Queen Gaming, D-Truth. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this Sunday morning. Want to get everyone hyped and prepped for the Iron Lords podcast at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. OBJ, we are not going to the Super Bowl, man. That shit's not going to happen, bro. You know how OBJ, you know how this story plays out, sir. We've been down this road. Black Metal Gaming, good morning. What's going on, my man? Guys, in the live chat, I want to know what you guys' thoughts are on that, on the video I played, and on the outrage by that video. It's just not a good look. It's not a good look for anyone. And I'm not saying that we can't disagree about opinions. OBJ said the Redskins are going to the Super Bowl. That is OBJ's opinion. I don't agree with him, but I'm not going to lose my shit over it. I'm not going to say OBJ is lying. We just have a difference of opinions, and that's it. What's up, DR Marty Spawn God? He wants to know what happened with PlayStation Now. I will get to that here shortly. So that's my whole. OBJ says I'm just following Redskins fans tradition. Yeah, you know what, man? I'm not following that tradition anymore, sir. I just can't do it. Ryan Landis says, Brap, if you get so upset hearing other opinions, why would you go to seek them out? These guys need help. That's true. I mean, hey, if you don't like their opinion, hey, there's a reason I don't watch Fox News. I don't watch Fox News. I just don't. I don't like the opinion pieces that they put out there. And people conflate opinions with news. They're two separate things, guys. It just blows my mind. We're living in an age now, 24/7 media, so we see a lot of opinion pieces. But people think that people think that opinion pieces are, the holy grail. They're opinion pieces on subject matter. That's all they are. I challenge the gaming community to be better. Please, be better. Because this stuff is not good. This raging over a 10-second clip. I don't get it. And it's bad enough when, and I said, I actually said this in response to that outrage tweet, mentioning that if you listen to the entire podcast, that they also criticize PlayStation Now and praise Game Pass for its value. And Brian Altano from IGN actually replied to my tweet and said, why do that when you can listen to 10 seconds of it and then rush to the internet to be outraged? And he ain't lying. I mean, look, guys, I love social media, but let's keep it real. Social media is social media competition. You ever seen the movie Idiocracy? If everyone's ever seen I can't even talk, guys. I fucking have so much coffee, I'm like mumbling my words. It's like I've done like 4 lines of coke. I don't do cocaine, by the way. I don't do that. Woo! Don't do coke. Don't do drugs. Talis says, I blame podcasters fueling the console wars. They have the biggest voices. Yeah, there's certainly some podcasters out there on both platforms that fuel that console wars fire, unfortunately. I just said social media ruined everything. Yeah, I mean, look, I love social media because you can talk to people, without picking up your phone and calling. That's all great. Fine, whatever. That's the great. The bad part about social media, though, is that it doesn't. Oh my God! Social media doesn't require anyone to think critically about things, and that's the issue I have with social media. And it's like Brian Altano said, let's just listen to 10 seconds of a clip and just go out there and fucking rage. Like, think about how irrational that is. And then the funny part is, like I said earlier, that same podcast that the person is raging about, they actually go and criticize PlayStation Now and praise Game Pass. Imagine that. You hate to see it. Mix of PC Pro says, I am from Serbia and I don't understand what's wrong with PlayStation Now. I beat God of War Ascension and New God of War PlayStation 4 on services and work flawlessly. Yeah, look, I am not the service in terms of it working, yes. But I'm going to get to kind of your question, Mix of PC Pro, regards to PlayStation Now, and my thoughts on what Sony could do to improve the service. But it's just, social media, that's the downfall. There's no critical thinking. People see, 10-second messages. You see it on Facebook. People see, news stories posted or things about, it's really terrible. And when you look at it in terms of politics, things are posted about, politicians and no one verifies the information that they're receiving. And it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. Like people, we just can't go by everything that we see on Facebook. We see like a 10-second video clip or a quick soundbite or some kind of headlining that says something about a politician, and we don't know how accurate that is, but people run with it. Oh, did you hear this? Yeah, tell me. I've had this conversation numerous times. Did you hear this? Yeah, I did hear about it. Tell me about it. What do you know about it? Oh, it says that blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, you just read the title. you read the title. You didn't read the meat and potatoes. You also didn't verify, where this person got their source. You didn't listen to or read similar stories on a subject matter to maybe get a different perspective or point of view. But that's my rant on social media. I just, it's just really, it's disheartening in a way for me, because I feel like, developers and media types have become, kind of like, in the gaming community because of behavior like this. It's just very unfortunate. All right, guys. So I want to go to PlayStation now. So I saw a PlayStation Now Game Pass thing that I want to talk about. So I did see a tweet by Open Critic that said, check out Game Pass. It has the most mighty rated games, 37 mighty rated games than any other game service, than any other video game subscription service out there. And if you don't know Open Critic, Mighty's like the top, I guess. Okay, so you have. Let me break this down for you guys. With Open Critic, you have games that are rated mighty, which is like the best. Games that are rated strong, games that are rated fair, and games that are rated weak. Now, majority of the games in Game Pass probably sit in that strong range. Games rated as strong by Open Critic. And they have about 37 games that are rated as mighty. Now, those 37 games rated as mighty, those are the top tier games. Those games are like, like the bangers, the ones that were like, that reviewed well and that are in Game Pass. And so, and according to Open Critic, the Game Pass has the most mighty games, if you will, out of any gaming subscription service out there. So, I was looking at this and I'm thinking, I understand, like we talked about this on the Brap Rant, like, there was a GDC survey about developers. Some developers are on the fence about the economic impact, on subscription services to developers. And look, this thing is still very early on in its infancy. Now, look, at the end of the day, I understand that there's probably a business conversation to be had here if you're into the business side of the industry, but. Ultimately as a gamer, I love I think Game Pass is a great value. I enjoy it. Like I said, I just downloaded 2 games this month, and it's paid its dividends. Like it works well for me. So,
hey, Ricky.
Hey, what's up, E?
What's up, man?
E, welcome to my Brap Rant, man. Woo!
What you doing? You channeling Cognito?
Yeah. I wanted to get people primed for IOP this morning, or because they go live at 1 p.m. So I want to do a quick back break. Yeah, because I want to talk about the craziness, man. The craziness that we see. With that. Yeah, let me tell you something, E. What was so gold? What was gold about that tweet about the whole media bias thing, IGN?
Mm-hmm.
That same episode. In that same very episode, if you listen to the entire episode, they actually praised Game Pass like 3 or 4 times and criticized PlayStation Now.
But that doesn't fit the narrative, or people just kind of pick and choose what they want to hear. Because let's not forget, just a week ago, a clip was going around from Podcast Unlocked when they were hyping up when they were talking up the whole, older platforms keeping newer platforms from thriving, right?
Yes,
that little
I did
clip
see
went
that.
around everywhere, but IGN wasn't biased at that point because it serves something, right? So it's all horseshit. It's all fraudery,
Yeah,
and dudes need to stop it. They need to stop. 7 years we've been hearing this thing, and it hasn't stopped Microsoft yet. There's this agenda to kill Microsoft, and IGN's responsible for it. A worldwide media conglomerate backed by $1 billion company would have the power to completely destroy something, right? But Microsoft is still here. New console coming, great games coming, Game Pass is thriving. but damn it, they're trying to take it down. They don't give it a fair shot. Yeah. It's hilarious, man.
You know, you're right, man. 7 years later, and we're still seeing it, and it just, you know,
7 years, that's enough, dude. 7 years is enough. And let's be real here. Like, you know, you and I've talked about this, like in private or whatever. And we see like this whole thing about, you know, I don't go to the major media sites because they're biased. I go to the YouTubers because they keep it real. And it's like, your favorite YouTuber doesn't have anyone keeping them accountable. You know, it's all about entertainment. You know, IGN, they may say something, may do something, but if you signal to positivity and that's what you choose to click on, then guess what they're going to do? They're going to skew more towards making sure more things are this. But if they see, I'm not making excuses. I don't think it's cool, but it's business practice. If you're constantly signaling and throwing out the Thundercat sign for people to run because you saw something negative, they're going to keep doing it. But rarely do I see people signal towards the positive. And there are plenty of times positive things have been said. You know?
I mean, IGN has praised Game Pass. They praised the Series X.
They praised the S when it came out.
Yeah.
But you never see that. You saw Game Informer. They talked up Crackdown 3. Well, now, the one thing the dude saw was they knocked Crackdown 3. However you feel about Crackdown 3, if it's a good game to you, it's a good game to you. It may not be a good game to everybody. Was it the best game? No. Can it be enjoyable? Can bad games be enjoyable? Absolutely, yes. And I'm not saying Crackdown 3 is a bad game. It's not the greatest game, but I played through it. It was whatever.
I didn't like it.
Nobody's writing home to mom and telling them how great Crackdown 3 was. Unless you're out there, you know, Mom, I'm at sleepaway camp and we've been playing Crackdown 3 all night. It's fantastic. Nobody's doing that.
Mama, you know? I love Crackdown 3.
Hey, Ma, where's the Crackdown 3? I never know what she's doing back there.
I want it now. I want Terry Crews.
Right?
No,
so,
man.
The thing is, stop signaling to the negative. It's like they do it constantly, you know, and it's like there's plenty of positive stuff out there, but nobody wants the positive. And let's get off the nonsense of, well, the YouTuber's getting it right, because the minute you push back on that, the first thing people say is, well, I'm not as big as IGN. No, player, you don't get to do that. If you're a YouTuber and you have subs, people who come to you for their information, right? You monetize that. You make money off of that. You get super chats off of that. And damn it, if you apply for media passes because your channel is big enough to get it, guess what, buddy? You're media now. And you have a responsibility to an audience. Doesn't matter if you're backed by a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate or not. You're media.
Yeah, I want to go to. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, man, but I want to go to Ryan Landis. Ryan brings up a great point. He says IGN employees also disagree with each other on those podcasts. You know, how does an opinion become an official IGN opinion? That's an excellent point, man. Like I think like Ryan. I mean, you're right. I've seen them disagree with each other, man. I mean, I've seen even on you know what's it called, Greg Miller's show. I've seen them disagree on things. I mean, that's just, you know, someone's opinion, like he said, isn't the official IGN opinion. There's groups there that have various degrees of opinions on things, and it isn't skewed against Xbox as people say. It's crazy.
Right. And it's in the end of the day, it's all about like validation. And that's why like some channels can thrive, because people, they just want to know. And we've been like, you know, I see people in the chat saying, yeah, can we talk about it? But yeah, I'm absolutely down to talk about other things. You know, I said, we're going into a new console cycle and we're going to continue doing the same stuff. And I keep seeing the same people doing it. And I'm like, everyone talked about how dope it was that how Microsoft commanded the media during the video game awards. I don't think I remember. Maybe somebody can point me to it. I don't remember anybody throwing out a negative, like from a major site, throwing out a negative article about that.
I didn't see one. I thought people were like, "Oh my God, this is incredible," and I think people were blown away. I read some media sites that were blown away by the Sensuda Saga trailer that we saw. You know, and you know, digital. You know, people. Oh, Digital Foundry's biased, but you know, Ledbetter's like, oh, 4K.
But here's the thing, Enrique. Like, if you truly feel something is great, right? You do it a disservice by constantly trying to skew and point to the negative to rally people towards it. Like, if I think something's great and fantastic, why am I going to keep trying to find all the negative stuff around it to get people to rally to make me feel better about it? If I'm smelling sour milk, why do I want you to smell the sour milk? Ooh, Enrique, this milk's gone sour. Here, smell it. No.
Yeah, I don't want to smell that, man.
No, but I'll say, hey, Enrique, I had the best milk this morning. Oh my God, man. I put it in my cornflakes and glitter popped out. I'm going to tell you about that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, if you truly feel like Xbox is that great, then why do you keep trying to point everybody to the negative sides of everything? What somebody says something negative. If you feel it's great and I always heard the term Xbox is the best box, but if you're constantly acting like a battered spouse, no one's hearing that. Talk it up. Be that light. Be that person that says, I don't give a damn what these sites are saying. I think it's fantastic.
Dude, I agree with you 100%, man. Like, if you like something, look, man, I owned an OG Xbox. It wasn't, it wasn't the most popular platform at the time, but I liked it, right? And
right.
You like what you like, and if you like it, who cares?
And the thing is, healthy debate is always great, because guess what happens with healthy debate?
Facts.
You learn from healthy debate. And I'm going to shout out Dizzy. Dizzy just said, I disagree with the things all the time on Lords of Gaming. Still do our due diligence to get someone's stuff up. Because he may not agree, but it doesn't mean that it's not factual or truth that needs to be told. Because the minute you start propping up and you start, trying to like bury something else because it makes what you love prop up, even if it's not the truth, you're doing a disservice.
Yeah, no, I agree.
There's a handful of YouTubers that I'll rock with. A handful.
Let me tell you
something. A lot of it's entertainment. It's entertainment. Yeah. But for factual truth, I can tell the ones who will report on what they know and report on the truth, regardless of what platform they prefer, because it's the truth. Doesn't matter. They don't have their feeling in it where it's like, they keep it real. They tell the truth about it, whether it's propping up their platform or knocking it back down, because the things that you love, you should be able to be critical of. And the things that you love, you should also be able to support and prop up. Be wary of the person that never has a negative thing to say, or not shouldn't even say negative, or can never be critical of the thing that they love. Be wary of that person.
Yes, and that's actually a general rule of thumb in life anyway. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, I agree with you, and I think unfortunately, with social media, it reinforces tribalism. I think that it reinforces the intolerance of the opinions of others. And that to me, that's kind of a downside. I think we see that a lot, unfortunately, in the gaming community, which is crazy because we all have this common bond, which is we love gaming. That's the part that drives. Right. Like I disagree with people. Like I don't always agree with things that certain podcasters say that I talk to. But at the end of the day, hell, that's their opinion, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my bond with them, I'm not. I don't speak to them because they share the same opinions with me. I speak to them because they enjoy the same hobby that I enjoy, which is gaming.
Right. And the thing with that too is there are people that I don't necessarily agree with. Sometimes I'm like, oh, you really want to go down that path? Because I know that they can be better. And again, I see like the accusations flying that, the big sites, they do it for the clicks. It's like, so do YouTubers. That's their whole motivation. They need you to come to their channel. They want the sub. It's the same thing. So you can't prop one up as being great and the other one being bad, because everybody's trying to do the same thing. Either make money or
they're trying to drive traffic. They look, and
right.
Yeah, and if you can't handle titles, then maybe you should stay off the internet. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know what else to say. Like if that bothers you that much, that's a you problem. Like seriously, I think it's a you, because we see this with every other type of consumer product, with marketing. We live this every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but these companies, they have to drive traffic. I mean, should I clickbait? Why? Because I monetize. I want to get people watching Brap.
Right.
I mean,
right.
If that angers you, then I'm sorry, but you know what? I mean, I'm trying to, grow the channel and run. I mean, and drive traffic. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you want, these sites have to generate. These aren't nonprofit organizations.
Right. And their state, a lot of them, yeah. Do they sometimes do some clickbaity things? Yes. Some sites run, that's their whole thing. They're like, it's easy. I'm gonna be real. Dudes have made it easy. They made themselves an easy mark for sites to do this because they know they throw it out there. It's like throwing bread at ducks. You know, they know people are they're gonna come running. But if they put up that positive article, no one's showing up for it.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate. You know? I think the thing with social media too, people don't like positive feel good stories. They want negative. They want dirt. That's the unfortunate side, I think. And it's funny you say that. I actually know I did have a journalist tell me that they knew if they really wanted to drive traffic, they would just put a clickbait title out there that would get Xbox fans in a tizzy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's real. I mean, this is a media site that
right. And the funny thing is, not to cut you off, you saying that will piss somebody off, and they'll come after you. No, what are you talking about? We don't. Blah, blah, blah. If they wouldn't do this, you see, and right there, slow down. It should. Only time like an arrow can hit you, a truth arrow, is if you feel that's you. If someone's talking about you, it's easy to break somebody down.
Yeah, no, it is, man, and like you said,
I don't get offended.
I don't either
when these sites put these things out because they're talking to me. I'm like, whatever.
Dude, they could IGN could put out an article that says Xbox sucks balls.
And I'm like, oh, cool.
I wouldn't care.
I'm going to go download this game on Game Pass and keep rocking.
Exactly. I'd be like, okay, IGN, do you feel like? But is there clickbait that's kind of like that's not really I don't want to say misleading, but isn't like what the meat and potatoes of the article is? Yes, absolutely. Sometimes the clickbait is a little bit little egregious, but at the end of the day, like it doesn't bother me. Like it doesn't impact me in a way where I feel the need to rage, or I feel the need to like, oh, look at you guys, look what you're doing. If that was my only concern in life, man, my life would be so fucking easy, man.
Like sometimes I see dudes do that. I want to ask them, how many sick days do you have left? Because you're raging so hard, I guarantee you can't go to work and function.
I know, right?
I can't make it in today. These guys are out here dunking on Xbox.
Oh my goodness.
He's like, what was wrong with you yesterday? I didn't see you at work. Man, it was a rough day, man. This one site kept going in on Xbox. I couldn't take it. I needed a mental health day. You don't have where are your real problems in life if this is where you're raging, right? Dizzy hit it again. He said, "Isn't part of the problem that people read titles but not the content every day, all day, Dizzy, all day. That's all it is." And you can tell that they're reacting off of a title because then when you say, "Did you read the article?" Well, I didn't have to. I saw what the title said. You already failed, and this conversation's over.
Yeah. Ryan Landis in the chat says if the media started bashing my favorite brand of socks, I wouldn't even think twice about it because that's weird. I don't get fighting. I don't get fighting for your console's honor like it's your wife or something.
Hey Ryan, we all know Fruit of the Looms is trash.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, man. Yeah.
Hanes, they're cutting edge. They're the ones that stopped putting that itchy label in my t-shirt.
Hey, Hanes is moving the underwear industry forward.
Everybody else, they're trash, man. They're following.
Oh shit, man. Oh, I'm in tears.
Fruit of the Loom's not showing up the underwear con. They're scared.
We haven't heard from Fruit of the Loom in months. They shook.
Man. Come on, guys. Like, I get it. It's fun to go back and forth. I have no problem people going back and forth and debating and having fun with each other. You know what I'm saying? But you got to get to a point where it's like, let's move forward. The conversation, even just for boredom's sake, the conversation is whack. It's boring. And I say that as we're in here talking about it, but it's just, you see the reaction of it. And it's just like, we have uncharted territory with consoles going forward. We should be talking about that, not who's going to do this and who's going to do that and the power and the power and the power. The power. We're in an area now where nobody can guess anything that's happening. We have a company that's invested heavily in draft picks for their studios. We don't know, we Have a draft pool about who's gonna have the dopest game. A fantasy draft, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt.
Do something like that. PlayStation's quiet. Are they quiet because it is? Quiet because of that? Like, what's that gonna be? It's a great time. It's unpredictable right now. And that's a great thing. I'm loving that feeling that we don't really know everything. These companies of Microsoft. Props to them. They've been really well, except for that. I say that except for the console, the back of the console being leaked last week, but overall have been very good about keeping things close to the vest.
Yeah, I love that Microsoft has been really good at keeping things close to the vest. Like, I think they had an issue with that at the beginning of last console generation or right before, where we knew the specs of the Xbox hardware, or the Xbox One, and the bundling of the Kinect and the DRM stuff. So, I love that they're doing that. They're playing it close to the chest, and I love that they surprised everyone by announcing the Series X. I thought that was, not because I want. Here's the thing. Not because I want Microsoft to regain mindshare. I want them to be number one. Like, I give two flying fucks about that. As a gamer, I was excited.
Like they don't either.
As a gamer, I was excited that they made that announcement.
Right. What do you win? And this is an honest question, and anybody can tweet me or DM me, and if they can answer this question, because it's almost like, what is life? What do you win for your platform coming in number one as a fanboy? Like, for
you
real.
don't win anything.
Is there a newsletter I didn't get? Like, there's like a cash prize? Is it like Publishers Clearinghouse? Like, explain it to me, because I can't understand going that hard and capping that much for like companies. Outside of, like I said, the fun of it, poking fun at each other, because I do see that, and I laugh at that on Twitter. Like, Dizzy's one of the funniest dudes out there, poking fun at people. I love that. I love J-Dub. I love people having fun. I'm talking to the people that like literally feel like their whole life is focused around this, where you can tell their mood by what was announced in the day or what was said. It's like if it brings their world crashing down, or they just it's odd.
Yeah, I don't get that, man. But I wanted to move on to the next to the topic that I was kind of chatting about. If you heard me talking about OpenCritic's tweet, they tweeted out that Microsoft's Game Pass has the most amount of Mighty rated. Mighty's like the OpenCritic, like that's like the best games, right? And they have like 37 Mighty rated OpenCritic games, and most of any subscription-based game services type model or service or whatever. And then so it kind of led me to thinking about PlayStation Now, and I know we talked a little bit about this on Brat this week, but and Dizzy was talking about this too. And I thought about this because Dizzy's like, I wanted to beat God of War, and it's not on PlayStation Now anymore. And one of the things I was critical of with PlayStation Now, and look, I do think they've made some great moves, but I don't think a lot of people know, and I could be wrong, and this is just my guess. But I like PlayStation Now, like we originally know it as a streaming services, right? Being able to stream old PlayStation games. Now you can download and play over like 300 games or something. They do have Game Pass and PlayStation Now do share similar games that you could download and play. But I feel like Game Pass is more vocally, kind of beating the drum more of the games they bring in and out of the service. Like we have Plague's Tale, we have Children of Morta, which I saw you were playing now. They kind of give us those monthly updates. Where PlayStation Now, I feel like it's quiet, and I'm like, and I get that Sony's the market leader, but I do feel though that this is probably a really big area of improvement for Sony. Like I feel like this is something they need to improve. I think that if you're going to drop old games in the service, don't take them away. If these games have been out 2 or 3 years, just put them in there. That builds value for the service.
Absolutely. Like I don't really know why God of War was pulled back out of there at this point. Because I think anybody who's purchased that game owns it. And I know it was a part of that holiday bundle that did really well for them. So I think the majority of people who are going to buy it bought it already. So that should kind of be there, I guess. Even if you're not doing the day and date thing, like once it's kind of run its course, put it in there. What is that hurting? You know, so Dizzy's absolutely right. Like, he should be able to go right now at this point and play God of War, download it and play it.
Yeah, like Dizzy said, he's like, the service works fantastic, and then they take away your toys. Like, that's, I mean, it's true, and like
they're like, you liking that game, man? Give it back.
and see, that's where I think is, and again, I don't know, I'm not privy to Sony's, their business strategy per se, but
right.
You know, like I'm just posing this question because I don't know for sure, but like, is it a situation where they feel like, hey, you know what, if we can give people a taste, you know, like a taste, you know, like when you go
back and get it again,
yeah, like they're gonna be like, you know what, it's gone. It's like, you know, when you go to Costco and they got, you know, the people at the end units, you know, and they're giving out samples of food, and you're like, oh man, that shit tastes good. And they give you and you go back and get another taste, and you're like, oh, I'm going to buy it. You know, like,
yeah.
Like, is that what's going on? Is that why they're doing that? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
I guess time will tell. Yeah, time will tell. I don't know. I mean, again, you know, we said on the show, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The other show the other day, you know, we talked about we don't have any anecdotal data yet that says that day and date is not a hurting thing. You know, we don't know. It's all of this is so in its infancy, you know what I'm saying? So maybe they're trying to decide, like, hey, we pulled it back out. Did we see any upswing in sales because of that? You know? And it kind of goes back to what we were saying the other night. It's just testing things out. You know, seeing, like, you know, what will work, what won't work, you know?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think it's, you know, like if you go back and you look at that GDC questionnaire that came out about, you know, subscription-based services, not everyone in the industry is on board with it. You know, there's developers that are either impartial to it. There's some that are concerned about, you know, the devaluing of their IPs. You know, and so that's, like you said, it's a new thing. Like, we don't know how it's going to work. Now, obviously, there is data, like Matt said. We had Matt Pistello on Brab. He did say, you know, after games drop into Game Pass, they do see an increase of sales. But I think potentially what might happen now is you might see people not buying those games and now subscribing to the service as opposed to buying the content. And then what's going to be the impact there? And I think Matt just recently tweeted something to the effect, because Game Industry Biz put out an article about subscription services, but I think Matt said something to the effect like, hey, you know, developers don't have to be worried if, you know, there's enough people in the pool, if you will, that are in subscriptions to kind of feed the beast, right? But if the subscribers aren't there to offset that, then there's some concerns there, you know, and so
right.
Look, at the end of the day, it's Microsoft and Sony's job to figure this stuff out. But
I mean, like I said, there's people who are a lot smarter than me sitting in the room trying to figure those things out. And again, we don't know. I'm sitting here saying, you know, like, based off of my little knucklehead notion, like, you know, yeah, God of War should be in there, but I don't know that. I mean, hey, they could be like, no, like someone just pointed out in the chat, you know, it devalues the exclusive PlayStation first party game or whatever. Maybe Sony sees it that way. I don't know. But the main point is, just because Microsoft has taken one path doesn't mean that's the path Sony has to take. They may see what Microsoft is doing and go, this is how they're doing it. We're going to pattern some of that model, but we're going to do it this way. And they may come up with something that Microsoft goes, oh, shit, we didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, I think, you know, if I mentioned Nintendo, I think yesterday. Nintendo, you know, is kind of we always talk about how Nintendo's kind of behind the ball here, right? With this kind of antiquated online multiplayer voice chat, friends list type thing, and you know how that seems kind of antiquated, but they are selling the most consoles hardware out of all the big three right now. So you know, Nintendo's like, hey, hold my beer, and they're selling a ton of content software. I want to go to the live chat here real quick. J Love says PlayStation exclusives are too valuable for PlayStation Now. Look, I understand that argument when you think about launch, but at some point, you know, and we know this because we've had conversations with Matt. But you know, at one point, games do hit their maturation point in retail where they're not selling as well, right?
Right, because that's when you start seeing. Remember before, that's where the PlayStation Hits program came in, and then the Xbox. What do they used to call them? The
Xbox Platinum Games or something.
Platinum Games. That's where that program was born out of, because you hit a saturation point where you're like, it's not moving anymore. Now we need to do something to infuse that energy. Even Nintendo. I think Nintendo might have been the one that kind of started it, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
I think so.
I don't really
think
know
so.
who started, so nobody come at me in the chat. But that's where that kind of came from. But now you have to think in terms, of differently with these programs,
Yep, no, I agree, and I don't agree that putting PlayStation Now in after that maturation point, a game like God of War devalues, that game. Because how many more? I mean, you've pretty much hit the point where how many copies are you really going to sell, right? I mean,
right.
You're at 10 million copies sold. How many more are you going to sell? Another million? Probably not. So
right.
Put it in the PlayStation Now. Get people in that ecosystem, and like I just said, he doesn't have a PlayStation 4, right? But he's on PSNow on his PC. He's in that ecosystem. Keep him in there. That makes sense to me, because perhaps now maybe he goes back and gets a PlayStation console now because he's played God of War. Now he wants to play that God of War sequel. And maybe he doesn't want to wait till it drops on PlayStation Now and PC. And he's thinking, shit, I need to go buy a PlayStation 5 to go get the next God of War. Or he may not say. They may say, you know what, I don't need a PlayStation. I'll just wait.
Right. And we're past the point now where we're rallying against, a Game Pass or a PSNow or whatever. They're here. They're here. They're not going anywhere. So it's like, I know some people have the argument of these subscription services shouldn't exist. We're kind of past that point now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going anywhere.
Now it's kind of talking about what they will mean in the long term. And again, it's so new that it's hard to say like what they are. And again, I know there are people out there who, they play like armchair analysts, and they think the way Microsoft is doing it is absolutely the right way. And it's like, we don't know that yet. And it's not for me to figure that out. I know it looks very consumer friendly, and that's all I really care about. And it's not going to ruin, I don't think it's going to ruin the game industry per se, what people are saying. It's just, my question the other night was, how do you pivot out of that, especially in a world of social media and everything else where you've kind of gone one path and you say, hey, the day and date model, it's so definitive. Like, what happens if you need to pivot out of that? Where Sony may be playing a little bit more cautiously. Like, they're tampering with, they're testing, they're seeing, okay, we're going to put it here and pull it away, see how people take to that. And then next, middle of the year or later in the year, you may see indefinitely, they may say, at this point, once we see, mass saturation, now it's going to be in the service indefinitely.
Yeah.
Or they may see later on that the day and date model is like, hey, that's where it's at. We don't know.
Yeah. J Love says, he says, look at The Last of Us, Spider-Man, for instance, they're still selling in drops though, or drips. He says, I mean, look, do they still sell copies of those games? Sure, they do. But the point is that I think we're getting to a point where digital content's becoming a big thing, right? So I think it's important to lock people into ecosystems. And if you're going to do a subscription-based service like PlayStation Now, and again, like they've made their money hand over fist already with Spider-Man and The Last of Us, right? Yep. But if you could sell more subscriptions, right? Now you're adding another revenue source outside of just selling copies of Spider-Man and and The Last of Us. Why not do that? So I mean, you also put, like, and they're doing this. You put those games on PC, and for the PC folks, they're going to buy those copies, right? But if you drop it late, my point is this: if you drop it later on in PlayStation Now, I don't think it's going to hurt sales by keeping it there. I don't see it. I mean, yeah, you're still going to get some sales of God of War. You're still getting some sales of Spider-Man. You're going to get the drip because not everybody's going to want to pay $60 a year on top of their PlayStation Plus subscription for PlayStation Now. Like, I don't subscribe to PlayStation Now because I don't want to pay that, that 60 and 60. I don't want to do that. It's just not.
Same here.
It's not advantageous for me to do that. So,
I tell you, the moment they fold it into what I'm already subscribed to, because I mean, we could have a whole other debate about, the pay model on console, whatever the case may be. But like I said the other night, Microsoft just made it a no-brainer. They made it simple. Like, it's already a part of what you're doing. Here you go. Like PSNow, I would have to physically go and subscribe to that as well as my, PSN. And I don't want to do that.
I mean, I got Game Pass. Yeah. I got Game Pass for $1, man, for like 2 more years.
Yeah, same here. Like I'm paid up for a couple of years, and it was just literally the switch. Like, you want to do this? Yep. And there it is. Well, again, and maybe that's part of who's the lady that they hired over at Sony. She's going to be in charge of all those things. Maybe that's a part of her trying to shore that up and figure it out.
Yeah, they hired somebody that was at they hired somebody that was at Microsoft to come over to head up PlayStation Now. So they're making.
But they absolutely. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to coach. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, but back to your other point, they absolutely need to get those things lined up to where they have like that social media presence, that announcement presence about what's coming in and out of the service. Because I think a lot of people probably just think it's all streaming still. They don't know that you can download. Like Slowmo mentioned the other night, my first time actually looking at PSNow was the other day because they threw a tile up on my dashboard. Shout out to Sony for throwing advertisements up on my dash. But I went in and looked, and I saw, oh yeah, you can download this, you can download that, and Slowmo made the point of saying, like, a lot of the games that are in Game Pass, some of them are there on PSNow. You just don't know about it.
Yeah.
So it's like they kind of need to get into that, and start talking about that.
Oh my God.
Again, like I said, we're past the point of saying, well, I don't think the service should exist. We're past that part. It's been there from the beginning when they bought Gaikai. It's evolved into something else. You can already see that they're trying to change the model from a couple of months ago when Jim Ryan kind of took over. They're like, okay, this is what we're doing. The price is coming down. And they got into the download side of it because they heard people saying that, like, I want to be able to download stuff. I don't want to stream it. They probably realized internet connections aren't all up to par, So you're seeing the drips of them kind of like evolving it. It's just they got to shore it up,
Yeah, DMRD Spartan God just mentioned PlayStation now actually does they're doing a 7-day trial right now that actually popped up on my dashboard. So if you're interested in the service, what's that?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what popped up on mine too.
Yeah. If you're interested in the service, you definitely check it out. But I do think though there's got to be some improvements. I mean, I'm not saying they need to go day and date, and if they do, that's great. It's a win for me as a consumer. But I do think they got to do a better job marketing and getting some more games in there too. I mean, I don't think A Plague's Tale's in PlayStation Now right now, and Microsoft has that. They have that in their bag right now. They're advertising it, which is great. It's another feather in their cap. And, I think that, again, they don't have to do day and date. If they do, that's great. But I do think they need to do a better job of advertising PlayStation Now. And then hopefully, I think they should bundle it with PlayStation Plus. I think that would be great.
I think that's coming. I do think that's coming, though. I think it would be crazy not to have that as a feather in their cap, so to speak, Just to make it easy for people to transition into it. If you're already going to be paying for PS Now, just make it a thing that you can go pop over there and say, okay, yeah, I'm gonna check this out.
I want to. Oh man, this idea. So Dead Rising Ninja says people talk so much about exclusives, but the top selling games are multiplats. Might as well play those games on the Series X. I don't even know where to start with that. Look, exclusives are these companies are in the business to sell you hardware, right? And services. If they offer the same product, if you will, without any differentiators, what's the incentive to buy, right? Mm-hmm. Which is why you see, things like exclusives and Dead Rising Ninja. I don't know how long you've been gaming, but there's a certain game that is the biggest reason why Sony or Microsoft was able to break into the console industry. That game's called Halo.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason people bought an OG Xbox. To your point about top selling games, multiplats, Nintendo will say, "Sir, hold my beer."
Sony will say, "Hold my beer."
Sony will say, "Hold my beer" too. I mean, like Sony's it's not just it's funny. You're comparing exclusive sales that are a game that's exclusive to one platform to a game that's available on 4 different platforms and saying, see, exclusives don't matter.
Why don't you get it twisted?
Why don't you take the individual sales for that multiplayer game for that specific platform, compare the sales to the exclusive that's on that platform, and then we can have a conversation.
And don't get it twisted. Microsoft ain't drafting studios because they don't believe exclusive sell platform stuff.
Yeah, whether
it be for Game Pass, for PC, or for an X, they see the value in having exclusive content to attract people to your ecosystem.
Yeah, like Microsoft. Microsoft, like you said, they didn't go out and spend all this money and investment in first-party studios if exclusives didn't matter. So I don't understand. Like I see this argument a lot now. I'm like, guys, this. No, you're not even thinking. This is not even a. That argument doesn't make sense considering Microsoft's own behavior.
Yeah, and I said this to you too, man. It's like when I hear people make the argument of this, I'm like, so what you're basically saying is Netflix should go spend all the money to invest in all their great content that they have to get you to come to their platform. They should do that, but at the same time, day and date, they should give it to Amazon. They should give it to public broadcast. They should give it to WSVN Channel 7. They should give it, it's like, it doesn't work that way. They want you to come to their platform. That's why you do this. Is it the end all be all? No, you come for that and you stay for everything else.
Yeah, I mean, again, to your point, E, why did Microsoft buy these first party studios? Because they have a subscription based service that they need to sell to people, and right. you're going to do that by putting exclusive content on that service.
While you also try to get second and third party stuff in there as well, because it's all beautiful, it's all great,
Yeah.
So I mean, why do you think Disney? It was a no brainer for them to say. Look at all this content we have, and we bought everybody. Why are we going to keep going through the headache of putting it everywhere else when we can make money putting it here? We have all this exclusive stuff that we can throw on here.
Exactly, and also to what I would say to I forget his name now, Dead Rising Ninja is, you're comparing exclusives. Sales of exclusives to that specific platform and comparing it to a game that's on multiple platforms. So of course, naturally, those games like Call of Duty are going to sell more. But there's a lot of multi-plat AAA games that don't outsell exclusive games.
That's what OBJ just said.
Yeah. He did say that.
Yeah.
OBJ, you and
absolutely.
Great minds.
Absolutely true.
Great minds think alike. And the other thing is take a game, a multi-plat game that's sold well. And I said this earlier, take a multi-plat game that is sold well across 4 different platforms, compare it to Spider-Man, let's say as example, which sold like 15 million, and then let's see how big the gap is there between, like a Call of Duty on PlayStation 4 versus, again, I'm sure Call of Duty probably sold more than Spider-Man. But what I'm saying is that's probably the more accurate comparison. Does that make sense, E? What I'm trying to say?
Yeah. And multiplats do sell a lot, but not everybody is a 2K. Not everybody's a Call of Duty. Those are anomalies. So those are exceptions, not the rule, because they speak to a specific audience that will show up in droves to get those games.
Yep.
Not all multiplats see that. But Enrique, I got to bounce, man.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I'm about to wrap up the show here in a sec, man. So, but no, E, thanks for stopping by, man, hanging out for a little bit.
No problem. And chat, thanks for entertaining my nonsense and my fanboyism. I'm a fanboy. I'm a fanboy for common sense.
That everyone should be a fanboy for common sense. Thank you, E.
So yeah, and not hurt feelings. Get out your feelings, man. It's a piece of plastic. You just hate. I can't. I love when I see that too. You just hate it. It's an inanimate object. It has no feelings.
Feelings. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry I hurt your platform's feelings.
My God.
Anyway.
All right,
guys.
bro.
I'll catch you later.
All right, man. See ya.
See you.
DL Marty Spartan God says people actually buy games on PlayStation, so there's no need for them to rush and put them into a subscription service. Look, I get that, the initial launch of games, they sell a ton of their first-party exclusives. I get that, and they're making money. But I think that as they build out PlayStation Now, and I do think they should compete with Game Pass, because look, if Microsoft starts putting out some big AAA bangers, I mean people are going to, that's good, and they're giving away those games in a subscription-based service. People are going to flock to that because people naturally flock to great content. But again, I'm not making the argument that they should go day and date. If they do, I would be happy. I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't complain as a consumer because obviously that would benefit me. But I do think if they do put games in like a God of War that came out 2 or 3 years ago, keep those games in the service. I mean, just that is a solid, in my opinion, a solid way to build up some good faith in that particular service and may entice people to subscribe and stay in that ecosystem and stay subscribed. Because look, I don't subscribe to PlayStation Now. I just don't. But I think perhaps that might entice some people to subscribe and stay within that PlayStation Now subscription service. So. DM Marty Spartan says Game Pass isn't anything to compete against. Dude, I get that argument, but Xbox Live wasn't either. I mean, people laughed at Xbox Live when it came out in 2002 with the beta, and then 2003. People laughed at Xbox Live, but let's look 18 years later at Xbox Live and the impact that had in the industry. Xbox Live was not successful when it first started, so. I wouldn't discount Game Pass as saying it isn't anything to compete with. I don't agree with that. I think that Game Pass is a great service. It's in its infancy still. Obviously the industry still has some questions, maybe potentially concerns about the impact of Game Pass. If you haven't seen, there's a GDC survey that went out about streaming service. So there's some developers that are on board. There's others that are kind of indifferent. There's others that are concerned about it. It isn't at a point where all 100% of everyone in the industry is on board with this. So, but I wouldn't say that it's not it's not at a place where it's competitive. And I will say this. I mean, to your point, Demarty Spartan God, I mean, Microsoft probably jumped at Game Pass as a Look, I mean, obviously we know games. We know the games are kind of the creme of the creme in terms of revenue for these hardware manufacturers, and perhaps Microsoft felt the need to, hey, let's try to get some people in this ecosystem. Let's keep these people in the ecosystem. Let's add value by giving our games away day and date. If you subscribe to Game Pass, and they're probably hoping that. That generates a lot of interest and buzz and brings in a large number of active users into that subscription service where, instead of, relying on, folks to go out and buy a $60 game, you're locking those folks in the ecosystem and charging them X amount of dollars a month. So, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. This stuff is still very new in its infancy. Again, there's definitely smarter people there at the headquarters of both Microsoft and Sony that know what they're doing, that look at the data, and that are making these decisions. I'm only here to talk about these services and just give my opinions for whatever they're worth. But Chauvin says, love it or hate it, Xbox Game Pass is legit. Like I thoroughly enjoy Xbox Game Pass. I got a Plague's Tale. I could have bought it on Steam for $40, and I don't have to. Look, I mean, I took advantage of that dollar subscription thing that Microsoft did, where you could stack, your Xbox Live subscription. So I'm locked in for like 2 years. But even if I wasn't, if I was paying, what is it, $120 a year, whatever it is, for Game Pass, and that What's going on, Xbox Battletoads? You do that better than I do. Woo! But even with that being said, I mean, the games that I've downloaded on Game Pass has already paid for itself for me. Even if I didn't have that dollar deal that Microsoft gave away, at $14 a month or whatever the case is, the service has already paid for itself this year. I mean, I've downloaded a bunch of titles. Like I said, Plague's Tale, that was $40 on Steam, or $45, I think. Gears 5, Halo Master Chief Collection, The Reach. What else? Children of Morta, Metro Exodus, Devil May Cry. Yeah, I mean, so I just, I've made, Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's paid for itself. So, all right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this Brap rant. Hopefully you guys are excited and hyped and going to check out the Iron Lords, who go on live next at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please, guys, go over there and support the Iron Lords. Great group of gamers. They have a special industry guest on. I don't know if he's an industry guest or a YouTuber. I forget. Let's see here. I'll tell you who it is here in a sec. All right, they have guest Michael Mercy, and he's going to be joining the Iron Lords this afternoon at 1 o'clock. So if you guys are up for it, go check them out. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this Brap rant. Thanks, everyone, for stopping by and hanging out with me and Eric Jackson. And woo! Everyone, have a great Wednesday. Hit that like button. If you haven't done so, subscribe. Definitely check us out. Ryan, thank you, sir, for the kind words. Big shout out to everyone. DR Mighty Spartan God, D Floyd, Ryan Landers, Showing, Hazardman, Lay, Shadow Spade, OBJ the Don, D Truth, J Love, Xbot 448. If I missed anyone, I apologize, but you guys are much appreciated. Seriously, I really thank you guys for coming out and spending time with me. I know you guys are giving time out of your day to come hang out with us. So I definitely really, really appreciate it. Again, hit that like button, subscribe. And if you subscribe, hit that bell of notification so you get notified when we go live. And Brap will be back. The Brap podcast will be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Although we may have a special announcement. We're working on doing something with Wilmy Hood and his crew, like a dual podcast. So keep an eye out on an announcement for that that will be made on Twitter. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at Brap_podcast. So on that note, I'm out. Everyone, enjoy your Sunday. We'll see you next time. Woo! Peace.